high levels of poverty,
unemployment,
stigma and discrimination,
gender-based violence,
sexual harassment,
early marriages and pregnancies,
drug abuse,
leadership and governance.
These are some of the pressing issues affecting our communities.
Raise your voice and speak up because you are the solution.
And by working together, we can create locally driven solutions that can transform our society and the world. Be a voice of change today.
Impact Show, the voice of change.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Impact Show. I'm your host. My name is Ngavinda Galimina. And today on the Impact Show, I'm joined by a very extraordinary youth who is a pioneer of good leadership. And I'm saying he's a pioneer because he has established himself as a leader with a vision. And at a young age, he has made those great moves. So I'm going to be talking to Kapambwe, who is actually the president of the University of Lusaka. He is a law student. He does poems, and he's involved in a lot of other things, which we'll be talking on, actually as the show goes on. Mr. President, welcome to the Impact Show. Good to have you. Amazing to see you, bright and energetic as ever. Good to have you.
Thank you so much, Kavinda. I'm excited. It's such an honor, sitting with you, and I love the energy that you're putting into the introduction. That's one of the most amazing introductions I've ever had.
Wow.
I've had radio interviews, I've been to TV interviews, but yours was quite extraordinary. So I love the energy that you're putting in. I'm super excited and honored to be sitting with you here and having this discussion with you.
To stand for union president?
So, you see, the funny thing is, I always tell people I actually wasn't even going to run. Basically, because this is one thing I proudly say where I always sit. I always tell people I come from a very humble background where it's not so much like I've done a bit of finances, and I've read how when people have got good money, they are able to do luxury spending. But when you have limited finances, you spend on what is necessary. You spend on what is important. So at that point, it was a lot like having to run was not primary as compared to paying for school fees. So when I decided to run, my parents told me, this is an abrupt decision that you have made. After all, you told us you weren't going to run. So just a little bit of a background. Last year I was Secretary General of our law association at our Leopards Hill campus, and they supported me. I appreciate them. And then this year they told me, okay, these things are a little bit rough, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to run. Now, as a testimony that while I was SG, I served effectively, people within my circle actually walked up to me and said, there's no way we are going to let you not stand. What I personally believe, there's a friend of mine, his name is Stanley. He sat me down and he told me, what I personally believe in is that when you have a dream, when you show people that you actually believe in what you stand on, people have their way of coming in and supporting your dream. And so if you read my track record from high school, primary school, I've always been prefect, head boy. There's a track record of me being in leadership positions. So it always had been a dream. From first year, I always wanted to become this union president. So when I get to third year, look at my finances and I say I'm not going to run. And then he told me, I've seen you walk with this journey. I've seen you walk with this plan and say you want to do this. So why do you want to give up on it? So right in that moment, I saw what the guy was talking about, and I said, okay, let me decide to run. Those that will want to run with me and believe in my vision will get to do it with me. Decided to do that. By following day, I made a few calls, told people I work with, those that I look up to as mentors, and I told them, this is what I want to do. And trust me, by 6 hours, I had money to file in. And that's how I decided to run. So basically, my inspiration is that of contribution to the entire student leadership. I'm president for all 3 campuses at my institution, and my belief is that people need a leader that is passionate and they do things with their heart, because it's about leadership is about seeing the need and going there regardless of whether there's a reward or not. Intrinsic motivation is actually more important than any other reward.
Do you think young people can position themselves, actually in key to become key players in national development?
I think I always address the issue of identity. Who are you? What do you stand on? And at the end of the day, how much capacity do you have? How well built are you? Okay, how invested are you in national matters? And if you say you are going to contribute towards development, development can be in various sectors. They can be spiritual development, they can be social development, they can be entrepreneurial development. So what type of leadership do you want to contribute in the country? Once you figure that out, then begin to build your personal capacity. Here where you are seeing me, I've made sure that whatever content I consume, starting from documentaries and books, I read on leadership, I read on impact, and I read on personal growth. Because when you decide to become a leader, it's a burden. You are there to set examples and you have thousands of people looking up to you. So basically, number one thing that I believe we need to start doing is taking deliberate steps towards developing ourselves. Remember that as a leader, you are a cup and there are people expecting to feed from you. You are a leader and the nation is expecting to feed from you. You are a leader and people within your house are expecting to feed from you. So build yourself and now use that capacity that you will build so free and unreservedly towards helping people that are around you.
Okay, now you are a leader of a group of people that I can say will always focus on the negatives. Mm-hmm. And I say this because I was also at school once, mm-hmm. and that's how we think at school. We always want to be negative about a lot of things. That's the era, that's the age that we are when we're at school. We want to experiment everything. Mm-hmm. It's the first time you're away from your parents. Mm-hmm. You're in a room with guys and you want to experiment that life. Mm-hmm. And there was a video on social media that was trending of actually a school where they were breaking phones of pupils because they don't allow phones. I actually saw it. I want to bring out something. Do you think that kind of education mm-hmm. that was there back in the day where you're not allowed to socialize with anybody when you are at high school prepares us well for the kind of education that has become that of university?
That's a very good question, and I my answer is simple. I think it is not enough preparation. It's not good preparation, basically because you see, when you put a dog on a leash and then eventually let it out, you are giving it freedom to experiment as much as it can. There's a certain age where young people are curious and they want to try out so many things. So when you hold them so harshly, the moment you let them go, you are giving them freedom to try as much as they can, and that is the situation that we face in university. So speaking into how my leadership role or skills come in, that is the reason why I was talking about personal development. My plan personally is that we interact a lot with first-year students who are just starting up and give them direction towards how best you can survive when you are in university. I've been in university for 3 years now, and I can tell you that the reason why even people voted for me is because I've built a name that is good. I've built a name that when you say it, most people will speak good things about me. Of course, not everybody else, not everyone, but at least a lot of people will speak good things about me. Because so many issues come up when we speak of university. There's drug abuse, there's STIs, there's sexual violence, there's poor mental health among young people. All of those are issues that we are struggling with, and the University of Lusaka is not an exception.
Okay, interesting. Now, you were studying law.
Yes.
And by virtue of studying law, that's a very, very busy field.
Yes.
Away from studying law, you are a poet, you do poets.
Yes.
You're also a radio presenter. You're also a mental health activist. And also you're also a social media influencer. How important extra activities to your growth as a student?
A few days ago, I'm on my social media on WhatsApp, and I found that a friend had posted saying, human capabilities are too wide for an individual to be one thing. So one crucial skill that a lot of us have not adopted is time management and also teamwork. What differentiates a leader from a manager is the fact that a leader will be able to inspire the people that they are working with to go their direction, while a manager is result-based. Them, they focus on, have you delivered? Have you gotten work done? But a leader will give you chance and opportunity to do what? To learn within that time that you're working. So what I have done is I invest, firstly with the presidency, I invest in my people. I invest in those that I work with. And if I said everything that comes up with the union has to be on my shoulders, then I would fail. So the poetry, the presidency, the radio presentation, all of those are things that I consider important because they are quite therapeutic for me. We all have those things that I love the law. I love the idea of getting to know what systems are put up and all of that jazz. But I just have failed, despite being in law school, I have failed to put away the poetry, to put away the radio presentation, to put away everything else that I do, basically because I love these things just as much as I love the law. So it hasn't been hard to strike a balance and manage my time because I love these things. So they're important. These things are important because our education system, or even just our country, it's not everybody that is going to make it through careers. Others might make it through poetry. Others will make it's if we head towards the direction of also promoting all of these other things that people can venture into and make a living. I think it would be very, very important. So I personally made a vow and decision saying, regardless of how hard school is going to get, I will make sure that I also keep up with these other things. Because sometimes the things that I do in poetry, in radio presentation, actually gets to help me while I'm studying the law.
Okay.
So while I also study the law this side, the things I study from the law also help me in the poetry. So they intertwine.
Okay, important. Now, I want, and I know time is not our best ally, but maybe before we can come to the end of this short interview, I want us to look at something that is becoming a growing trend in the country. And I'm bringing this up because your school, or the school that you are president, and a few other schools are always, the top stories when it comes to social media drama.
Yeah.
University of Lusaka, Zikas, Horn, Unza. These are drama schools on social media. As a president, what are some of the initiatives that you've put in place so that the name of your school on social media can still remain as University of Lusaka, one of the best schools in the country? Because each time, maybe yearly or quarterly, there will always be a drama kind of situation from this top university, which doesn't send a good message to those young people out there who are still back in high school. They look up and say, oh, so this is what is happening at the University of Lusaka. This is what is happening at Zikas. There are two women fighting for a guy. This one has done this and this and this and this. How best, as president, have you used social media first for positive change at your school, and what are some of the initiatives as a union have you put in place to ensure that the message that goes out on social media from University of Lusaka is positive and has got a positive vibe and positive impact towards the young youth?
Thank you. One of the things that I would like to, I will say this on camera, one of the things that I would commend University of Lusaka management for is that they are people that have heavily invested in business development, marketing, and the branding aspect of the institution. they've heavily invested in that, and that is commendable. And another thing that they've done is that they've, even as leaders, they've made us understand the importance of the brand that the University of Lusaka has built. They've made us understand what direction we would like to go as a university. So the initiatives that I personally think we're putting in place as a union is, number one, starting from the activities that we take part in, we are quite limited in, we don't just attend events anyhow, number one. Secondly, we don't organize any sort of events. You just wake up and say, I'm going to do this, we don't do that. And so we are complying with structures put by management, where if we want to host an event, we are writing to management, showing them clearly what the agenda is, who is going to be present, and submit it to them. If they feel some type of way about it, we sit down, have a meeting, and liaise to best see and come up with an event that would not be tarnishing the image of the institution. And then that is pretty much what is within our control. But there's certain things that even if we put measures and say this is what we can only showcase about the University of Lusaka, everybody has phones now. So if somebody's in their room and says something about the University of Lusaka and post it up on their social media, screenshots start going around, that is something that I can hardly control as president, or even the institution itself. So we try as much as we can to invest in our students and make them understand that it starts from as low as personal branding. So if you can build your personal brand, how much more will you protect the brand of the university? So that, Gavinda, is what we are doing. And
finally, somebody who knows how to pronounce my name. Yes.
Yeah. So that is what we are doing, and we are looking forward to even learning from you with the branding. I'm hoping that what we are doing today will definitely help brand the University of Lusaka Student Union presidency, because it's not me you are building alone, you're also building the presidency itself, the institution. So allow me to take this opportunity to appreciate you for giving us this opportunity, and we hope that this is just one of the many methods that we are going to use to help brand the entire union and the institution at large. I hope that with time I can also be able to negotiate a few deals here and there for you while we are going forward.
Interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We come to the end of this episode's Impact Show, and I'm so honored. I'll find myself can pronounce my name right. Don't just pronounce it, but pronounce it right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for coming through. We're honored to have you on the Impact Show.
I appreciate, and I would like to end this interview with a message. This is something I always say, it's my personal quote, so you can also be quoting me. I always say, death is a sad reality in truth, but the legacy that you leave behind is entirely dependent on the choices that you make, the associations you get, and the places you consistently find yourself in. Most importantly, the amount of work and prayer you put in while you are alive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the Impact Show. I've been your host. My name is Galimina. It's goodbye for now. Have a pleasant day.